Hi friends, how are you doing? Okay, I'm here today to share with you some beautiful Imala inspiration and tips and techniques so you can maximise and get the best out of your Imala stamps. The two stamps I'm going to be combining today is It Is Me, which is the beautiful, gorgeous lady, which is me, I think. I hope so. And then also we're going to be adding in the Northern Lights. Now, these are beautiful polymer stamps, absolutely gorgeous to use on a million different sort of styles of projects. But what I'm going to show you is something a little bit different today. So, all I've done, this is my brilliant aperture. It's not brilliant, is it? It's just a circle cut in a piece of paper, and I use it as a mask for when I'm stamping. On my actual stamp board that I've got here already, I've just gone around the edge with a little bit of lilac, and then I've just done some flick stamping, well not stamping, flick art over the top. Very, very simple. And you can see already I've got that creation going. It just gets some colour on, it creates your background, sets the scene. So now on top of that, I'm going to add my beautiful circle mask, and I'm going to add it over to the right side. I've got a little bit of low tack tape, or you can use your magnets to keep it into position. Now, don't think you have to cut one of these every time. You can see that I use mine quite a lot. It just gives you that framed image work. You can also use scrap pieces of paper as well if there's something at the bottom if you want to cover. So I'm just going to grab a scrap of paper to make sure that piece is covered, because she has got quite long legs, this stamp. So I'm just going to pop that there, and we are going to be stamping her just inside there like so. So I'm going to pick this up on my Eureka, absolutely gorgeous, and I'm just going to be using some VersaFine, very, very simple. If I just move this over, you can see a bit better. So I'm just going to add that ink onto my stamp very, very easily. Make sure that you build up a good layer, so when you have the contact with the card, you're going to be able to stamp perfect every time. Now, we are going to be painting over this background imagery as well, so don't feel that it has to be perfect every time, because it doesn't. So now you can see I've got that imagery. I'm going to take away my scrap, and it is ready in the perfect position. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up, take off the This Is Me stamp. I'm going to be using the fabulous Northern Lights. This is one of my favourite stamps. It's just so majestic, it really, really is. And you can take it quite high and stamp with that. I'm going to go using some different inks this time. I'm going to be using the tumbled glass and a little touch of Stormy Sky. So I'm going to be taking both inks together onto my platform, straight over. So this is the Stormy Sky, over the top again with the tumbled glass. Now we're just going to pick up that Eureka and just add that stamp, just to create that background effect. I'm going to use my scrap piece of card that I used earlier, and I'm just going to section off a piece and mask it that way, because when I apply my stamp, I don't want to go over the imagery I've added already. So I'm just going to slightly offset that. Again, pick the beautiful stamp up and add the two inks on top of each other. So you give it a light tap in with the Stormy Sky, then you go over with the tumbled glass. Now, using the distress ink, you'll notice as well, it's not as rich, pigmented and as vibrant and crisp as if you use black. So it's perfect for background effects. So now when I pull this up, you can see already I've started to add that effect. So now I'm just going to come back over, pick up my stamp again. This is how you can use partial pieces of the stamp rather than the whole stamp imagery. So I'm going to pull that down there now. Just pop my magnet on so I know I'm in the right position. Pick it up. Oh, look at that. I was lucky enough to have ink on there ready to go already. So now I can just change position. Pop this over to this side now. pick it up. So that was second generation stamping because already there was ink on there. So I'm going to go back, and that just gives you a lot more different technique and a lot more different depth to your project. I'm going to add the lighter blue. Again, pick up my Eureka and just finish off that background. Super simple. I've just seen a tiny tad, so what I can do is pick up my stamp because it's just this little area. I just wanted to add a little bit more. I'm going to go straight on my hand, rotate it over and just fill that space. You could use an acrylic block if you prefer, but I think it's okay. I'm quite happy with that. So now we can start finishing off this design. So I'm just going to put my Eureka to one side for a second, and I'm going to be using some Himi pencils. First port of call, I'm going to do a hair and a little bit of skin work. So again, I'm going into my palette. This is the moist paints that I have, and I'm going to pick up this gorgeous, almost salmony pink, a tad of the ochre, add that in, and then add more ochre to one side, just like so. You can see there on my palette. Then I'm going to pick up a tad of brown, just a little tad, and just add that to my ink work there. So now we're going to start adding this colour on. So this is your base colour. Don't worry about the colours that we've placed on already. It really doesn't matter. The background just adds to the accent of the colour. So I'm just adding that skin tone very, very simply, just following it along and exaggerating the colour. So now when we think about light perception, you need to think about, you're going to be darker around the hairline, darker on the shadows. So I'm going to go into that sort of ochre brown now, and I'm just going to pull that shadow. So the darker area under the arm to the wrist. Go straight into the dark. Around the cleavage area, you'll notice it does get slightly darker. And of course just under that arm, like so. So now I'm going to pull up that darker, and we are just going to pull it away to the face. Very, very simple. Now, as you know, I do like to paint in layers, so I'm just going to let that sit and dry for a little while, and then I'll come back and look at the light on that. Now, I'm going to be using these Himis, and I'm just going to be using this beautiful yellowy orange. So I'm just going to pull this in. These are water-soluble pencils as well. They work absolutely beautiful as they are, or you can add that water detail. You can smudge them as well with your hands if you prefer. Now with a very light touch, I'm just going to add that little bit of brown, pick up that yellow, and obviously yours doesn't have to be blonde. I always tend to do them blonde. I think it's because I'm blonde. But you can colour it whatever colour you prefer. So we're going to come right down with that lemon over the top of the brown. Then we're going to pick our wet brush. And we are just going to exaggerate and drag that colour out. So simple. Just like so. Just going to pull it away a bit more. There we go. So now I'm going to do the dress. So I'm going to go into some luscious, luscious pink right over here, and a bit of that sort of magenta-y pink as well. So as you can see, I put no more water on here. So this is quite a dry brush, which is good because then we're using that pigment straight from the palette. This is the darker pink, so we're going to have from the waistline up, a little bit under the armpit there, just like so. I've got that lighter pink now, and I'm just going to use my brush to connect the colours together. There we go, a little bit of water. Mix some colours together. And then just exaggerate that dress out on top of the line. You can even go over the line if you prefer. And just keep dragging that colour away. You can also build up the colour once it dries if you want to add more colour detail in. Especially just follow the lines of the creases of the dress. And you are just building it up. So now I'm going to add quite a bit of water and we're going to exaggerate this dress straight over the top so it will just blend in very, very simply. Right, also what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a little flitter of glitter. Yes, I'm going to be using a quickie glue pen and I'm just quite randomly going over these wonderful dots, which are that beautiful Northern Lights. If you've not used a quickie glue pen, don't worry, it does come out blue, but when it dries clear. Absolutely stunning. If you want the wow factor on a beautiful card, this is how achievable it really is. So now I'm just going to grab my box and I'm going to add a little flitter of glitter. So here we go. I'm using the stamp board as well, so it's a great base to start on. Absolutely perfect. So I'm just going to pull that away. Now I'm going to come back to this skin tone. Let's have a look at this. I'm going to go back into the ochre, add a little bit of that pink, tad of brown, rotate. So now we're just going to start picking out that detail, go around the face line. A little bit around the edge, just to create some depth. Go back in your water, pick up that light salmon pink. And this works with all skin tones. So you pick your base tone, whether it's pink or whether it's brown or whether it's yellow, and then you just work in the position that it is. Very easy. I'm going to go back into that brighter yellow. And I'm just going to add a little tad more colour just in there, like so. So I'm really, really happy with this, and I'm just going to mat and layer on to a beautiful blue and pink card. So I'm just going to pop some adhesive on the back here, and we can layer up. Now, as this is mount board, you could go straight onto using it as a piece of home decor. It could be a calendar, many different variations that you can create from this. We've got our sentiment as well, and what I'm going to do is offset that so it's among the dress, but not to the very end. Pop some adhesive, and there we go. How simple and easy is that? So we've got that 3D element using the beautiful backgrounds with the Northern Lights, and then of course we've got It Is Me. Simply, easy, achievable and beautiful. So I hope you really like my project that I've created for Amala. This is just one of the new series of the lives I'll be creating for you, so you can get and maximise the best out of every single Imala stamp that you invest in. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed it and you feel equally as inspired as I am. Take care of yourself and each other, and hopefully I will see you soon.